Hi there, this is Tatha with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing the Wrestling Time Potion. For tonight, I'll be reading AEW Dynamite. Wow, so tonight's episode was really one of the most anticipated episodes of AEW Dynamite. Sports Illustrated reported today that there were suspensions involved for everybody who was involved in that altercation backstage after the media scrum. And the list of those receiving suspensions include Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, and Braden Cutler. Multiple sources have shared that Punk and Ace Steel will either be among those suspended or will no longer be with the company by the end of Wednesday. Punk met with AEW owner Tony Khan on Tuesday, so the two had an opportunity to discuss how the exit could be handled. AEW is a mess this week. Yes, it is. Definitely is a mess. So, Tony Khan opened Dynamite. It's two boos, in case you guys didn't catch that. He got booed. And he said he was forced to vacate both titles, all the titles. So that includes the AEW World title and the Trios titles, which is just such a shame because the Elite literally just won those titles this past Sunday, and now they have to give up. Now they were forced to vacate them. But given everything that happened, it's no surprise. So Tony Khan says the new champions would be crowned. One tonight, as we were going to have a trios tag match to determine new trios champions, and one will be crowned at Grand Slam. So Michael, you're going to get a chance to witness the new AEW champion be crowned, and it's called the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. And the tournament champion will be crowned at Grand Slam. So even Malachi Black is on conditional release. Yep, he is. So I actually liked that they didn't fully address the situation backstage. I guess they're still trying to resolve everything. So the fact that they were vacated kind of tells me everyone's going to be sitting at home until this whole thing gets resolved. But according to Meltzer, CM Punk sustained a serious injury on Sunday and he's going to need surgery. So it doesn't say exactly what kind of surgery he needs or what kind of injury he got. But either way, if all this hadn't happened, he would still have gotten stripped of the title because he needs surgery, apparently. I won't be surprised if Moxley wins at Grand Slam. I'll be there and say, oh, okay, not excited. I'll get to that right now. So it's crazy because I think it's like a torn bicep, so that doesn't surprise me. It's the same injury Cody Rhodes has, so he would need surgery. So then MJF comes out, and he cuts this baby face promo where he's like, the devil is back, and he asks who's excited to see MJF. I don't know who Josh Allen is, but apparently he's from Buffalo, and he's the greatest quarterback of all time. And he says that he goes on to say he loves AEW and he will never leave this place and leads an AEW chant. And that he was kidding about all this nasty stuff he said. He says he knows someone who is deserving of the championship. And Tony Khan is paying him a boatload of money. And he was talking about how dark times there needs to be a new leadership. And he starts telling a story about Moses, but he ends up saying that he's better than Moses. And then Jon Moxley interrupts him. And he tells MJF that he's full of crap and doesn't think that he's sincere. MJF with the troll job. I really liked the crowd fell for even I knew I was trolling. And so MJF does a 180 and he says he doesn't care about AEW or these people. He says he will, this is the part that I like. He says he will take the title to a real wrestling company. He starts to mention the bidding war of 2024. That's when his contract is up. And his friend Cody Rhodes. He says there's only one con in professional wrestling that's worth a damn, jolly old Saint Nick. And that just he quotes the game or Triple H. He says he does what is best for business. And Moxley then tells him to leave the ring or he will make him leave. And then MJF leaves after he takes off his shirt and then Moxley says MJF's music sucks. So I have to say, I really like this opening segment because MJF came out as a babyface and he cut a really convincing promo. Honestly, he wouldn't be a terrible babyface. I think he would actually make a good babyface. And then I like how he easily flips it. He does a 180. He goes back to being a heel after Moxley comes out. And I like the fact that he mentioned Triple H, he mentioned Cody Rhodes, and he mentioned Nick Khan without saying his name directly. So it's a really good promo by MJF. And he is guaranteed a title shot because he was a Joker and he did win the ladder match on this past Sunday. So then this leads to a Jon Moxley promo, who he cuts a very passionate and heartfelt promo talking about how he has a passion for the sport and this business and the fans that fill the arena and the heroes that the title represents, the fans that fill the arena, the heroes that they were during the pandemic, the vision that they had. He says he represents a freedom to be as great as you are willing to be. He says that title represents slaying demons, everything that Moxley loves about this business, and that he admits it was his fault he got pinned. He was supposed to be on vacation until 2 days ago, and he caused Jericho's the GOAT. Bryan is one of the best wrestlers. He says there are 3 wrestlers in this tournament who are younger than him. He says Ace wants the ball. He always wants the ball. He wants the ball. He's going to take his shot and it's time to become a legend. He talks about how he was pissed off and about how you need to let the ugly side of this business die. So a very heartfelt, passionate promo by Jon Moxley. Before I continue, there is a report. Fightful Select did say that AEW held a talent meeting today, and that Bryan, Danielson, Chris Jericho, and Jon Moxley were set to lead the meeting. Chris Jericho had been complimented by several of the AEW roster about how his demeanor and resolved as the Elite CM Punk situation unfolded. So it looks like that talent meeting today, they have woke up some of the talent up. Yeah, definitely. And I absolutely love this promo by Jon Moxley. He is in that tournament. I want to talk more about the tournament when we get to Jericho segment. So we had the AEW World Trios Championship matches: Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends versus Death Triangle. So originally this was just supposed to be a regular trios match, but because given the circumstances, I guess Tony Khan felt it was easier to make this a trios match for the trios championship than to make a whole tournament for the trios championship. And not to mention, I think they said Dark Order was injured and Hangman Adam Page was in the Grand Slam tournament, so I guess he couldn't pull double duty. So I really love that Orange Cassidy kicks off this match and he takes off his glasses and he throws them to Danhausen. I don't know if it's just me, but Chuck Taylor looked like freaking AJ Styles with that haircut. Great match. Pac made history tonight, holding 2 belts. Yes, he did. So Danhausen attempts to cause a distraction, but Alex Abrahantes stops him, and he gets cursed for doing so. Oh my god. That German suplex to Pac by Orange Cassidy was cool. I like how my favorite spot in this match was when the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy run into the triple thrust kicks and then get hit. Those get turned into triple Canadian destroyers. That was so cool. Favorite spot in the match. And then Pac ends this match by hitting Chuck Taylor with the Black Arrow, and so Death Triangle wins. And Pac makes AEW history by becoming the first AEW double champ. So great match, honestly. After 2 solid promos, you get a banger of a match. So really good. Started off to AEW Dynamite. Then we get a backstage segment with Dark Order, who they're talking about how they're disappointed they couldn't be trios champions. And then Uno and Preston Vance are wearing masks, similar masks. And then Andrade wants to talk to them. So maybe they're turning heel and joining AFO. I guess maybe Dark Order is kind of just done for completely, unfortunately. And it sucks because Dark Order really, I don't want to say they haven't done anything, but it's just they just became a comedy act. And I don't know, maybe they should have been the first trios champions, or at least they should have been given the opportunity again. So you have the AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator match, Toni Storm versus Penelope Ford. This was actually not a bad match. It's time for the Dark Order to split. Yeah. I thought you were going to say it's time for molecular transmutation. Wasn't a bad match. You can tell there's Toni chants. My thing is it's an eliminator match. They said if Penelope Ford won, she would get a title match with Toni Storm down the road. So this kind of reminds me of those WWE Championship contender matches. Only this AEW did it right, and they didn't have the champion lose. I was about to say that. Great minds think alike. So they did it right though. The champion's not supposed to lose. So I was not expecting Toni Storm to lose that match. So we get the Acclaim segment, and everybody was anticipating Max Caster's rap because, with everything going on, we all thought Max Caster was gonna lay it down in that rap. But before you can even get talk, Swerve Strickland interrupted. And so I guess now Swerve and Our Glory are officially heels because they interrupted the Acclaim and basically ruined Max Caster's rap. Billy Gunn says it's Daddy Ass's house now, and in 2 weeks the Acclaim will be new tag team champions. So I didn't know that Tony Khan signed Bruce Pritchard to book this match for the women. Give me 1 second, guys. So in my opinion, I feel like the Acclaim is going to win at Grand Slam, but I don't think it's going to be as good as it was at All Out. I didn't think they want Caster to wrap up. Knowing Caster, he would wrap up about the media, so I guess Tony Khan didn't want that. Yeah, probably true. But it also gives Swerve Strickland heat because now they're the heels going into the match at Grand Slam instead of the Acclaim. Because everybody loves the Acclaim. So I don't know. I just feel like if they win, yeah, it's gonna be great, but it's gonna feel. I don't want to see it's gonna feel cheap because they should have won that All Out. But now I feel like we know they're going to win, and I feel like it kind of takes away from it from the moment. But that's just me. You can feel free to disagree. So we get a Jericho segment. And he says, they congratulate him on his big win, but he corrects them and says more like a gigantic win. He says, Corazón de León found the fountain of youth and is drinking it in, man. Oh my God, I love that throwback line to his gimmick in the WWE. So if you guys pay attention to what he said, he actually spoiled the result to the Dynamite wild card for the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions, which was Bryan Danielson versus Hangman and Paige. He actually spoils the result because he says he's going to beat Bryan Danielson and be champion for the 8th time. Now, mind you, this was before the match even happened. So maybe this segment aired out of order. Maybe this was supposed to air after the match. But he basically spoiled it for you. He spoiled the outcome for you. I don't know how many people caught that. And he said, I think this is Jericho sending a message by him saying AEW is his company, it's his effing locker room, and no one is ever taking it away from him. So I think that's kind of like a shot at Punk. And he goes on to say he's got 2 little brothers, Sammy Guevara and Danny Garcia. He says that he knows Danny's going to win because he believes in him. But because Daniel Garcia didn't come out and celebrate with JAS, they're not going to be out there for him. He says he's going to beat Yuta, but he's going to have to do it without the JASS. So then we get the TNT Championship matches, Wardlow versus Toni Nese. And I'm just going to call this for what it is, a squash match. I mean, Toni Nese with that pec jiggle. And it takes 3 powerbomb symphonies to Toni Nese for him to get beaten. I feel bad for Toni Nese. I think that if they were going to do a squash match, they should have just stuck a random jobber in there. Why are you doing this to Toni Nese? I feel like Toni Nese really hasn't done anything. Well, at least not on Dynamite. I don't know about Darker Elevation. Wardlow needs better opponents. Yeah, he does. No, he needs just a better storyline. So Josh Wood saves Mark Sterling from Wardlow. And then Wardlow cuts a promo saying that it's time to remind everyone in the locker room, the fans that have stuck by him since day one, that this is Wardlow's world. Kind of sounds like Elmo's world or Bobby's world, if you ask me. That's where my mind goes up. So then after this, we have the Dynamite wild card for the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. They need to get Nese away from Sterling. He's talented and he is being booked like a loser. Yeah, that is true. So this is the 3rd time that Bryan Danielson and Hangman face each other. And honestly, it didn't disappoint. It did not disappoint. This was a really good match. Really good match. And I like that Bryan hammerlocked Hangman's arm and sent him crashing into the ring post. Hangman with the Death Valley driver. And like you could tell, like when Hangman was walking down to the ramp to the ring, like he looked at the title. Hangman should have never lost that world title to Punk. I was rooting for Hangman in that match, anyways. Who are you guys rooting for? Ooh, but Hangman with that powerbomb on the apron to Bryan on the lower back. And Bryan caught Hangman after he did the lariat. It was a great match. They had good chemistry. Yeah, they did. And so the winner was Bryan Danielson. Like I said, I think that Jericho segment was aired out of order, maybe, because Jericho basically spoiled the outcome of this match. If you weren't paying attention to what he said, you would probably not have known Bryan was going to win this. So now we're going to get Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho too. And it's going to be interesting to see who wins that. But like I said, like it was a great match. But because of Jericho's I'm not surprised Bryan Danielson won. It would have been, honestly, I would have preferred Hangman because then you get to run Jericho and Hangman back because Chris Jericho defeated Hangman to be AEW champion at All Out 2019, which I was there for. So I felt like you could have ran that back, but I guess they want to do Jericho versus Bryan to the rematch. Now, I kind of didn't like the Stokely Hathaway segment. They beat up a production assistant. It's pretty much like any segment, like any jobber squash segment there is. You want to look strong, so of course they were going to beat up on a production assistant. They got Morrissey to give them the boot, so it's nothing too much there. Then we got the ROH Pure Championship match, Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia in Daniel Garcia's hometown. This was contested under Pure Honor rules. You guys know what the rules to you guys know what Pure Honor rules are, or should I read them to you guys? Because I actually have the little rules. I took a screenshot just in case. But give me 1 second. This is loading. So Westside Gun introduces Daniel Garcia. I'm going to be totally honest. I had no idea who Westside Gun was. I've never even heard of Westside Gun until tonight. Yeah. So each wrestler has 3 rope breaks to stop submission holds and pinfalls. After a wrestler exhausts his rope breaks, submissions and pins, attempts on or under the ropes by his opponents are legal. Oh, no. Oh, this is world title rules. My bad. Sorry. What a waste of a segment. Yeah, it definitely was. I like who Westside. I like who is Westside Gun. That rap was garbage. I still don't know who Westside Gun is. I've never heard of him till today. Like literally. I really like that this match is pretty much a stalemate. Because they couldn't outmaneuver each other. There was 3 German suplexes to Daniel Garcia, 3 Germans to Wheeler Yuta, the Dragon Tamer in the center of the ring to Wheeler Yuta. Like that Dragon Tamer did it though. Like, and I like the last one that he did, the third one, because Wheeler Yuta was trying to put him in a neck breaker, but he couldn't do it, and he had no choice but to tap out. So Daniel Garcia ends up winning this, and like at the end, Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia observe the code of honor, so they shake hands. Like Bryan Danielson comes out and he puts the title on Garcia, and Jericho comes out, and Jericho is just not happy that Bryan Danielson is doing that to Wheeler Yuta. So I feel there's still more to the story with Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson, and Chris Jericho, and I guess we'll find out what happens with that Jericho versus Bryan too. So what a crazy. I was shocked Daniel Garcia won. Me too, honestly. I wasn't expecting him to win. I kind of feel like, and not to take anything away from Daniel Garcia, but I kind of feel like they gave him the win just because it was his hometown. And the whole crowd was behind him. But this was just a crazy episode of Dynamite. I feel like, for the most part, it was a decent show. But that Stokely Hathaway segment and the Wardlow match really kind of brought it down a little bit. Really, 10 out of 10 show? Okay. 10 out of 10. You giving it a Preston 10, Vance 10 out of 10, or a Ty Dillinger 10 out of 10? I will say I like what they did with Swerve Strickland in the Acclaimed segment. I like the wild card match between Bryan and Hangman Adam Page, and I like Willa Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. The Stokely Hathaway segment didn't do it for me. The TNT champ match didn't do it for me. Women's match was decent. The trios match was great. Jon Moxley's and MJF's promos were fantastic. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10 just for that. Just knocking. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 just to knock down the Stokely and the Wardlow match. No. But with that being said, that concludes this review. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on Friday after AEW Dynamite. After AEW Rampage. Have a great night, guys.